would have thought that knowing nothing could make you one of the most successful? The great Greek philosopher Socrates was the human representation of a paradox, with a strong conviction that it is foolishness to know all things. He went around asking questions until he gave birth to a school of thought that continues to this day. Will you call that a successful life that is worth modeling? Then, let's travel back to 430 BCE as we tap into his secrets to success. But before we hop on the time machine, kindly subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so that you can get to see more videos like this. Number 10. Courage. According to Socrates, one of the major ingredients for a successful life is being courageous. Though he wasn't born into a rich or influential family, he stood before the different caliber of people, rich and poor, old and young, slave and free, challenging norms and changing narratives. In 399 BCE, Socrates stood in a trial before the Athenian government and backed up his convictions with courage. Although, due to several adversities, the trial didn't end in his favor, he was bold enough to face his tragic death instead of choosing exile. This shows that Socrates was a man who fiercely followed what he taught and stood with his convictions till the very end, making his followers revere him more even after his death. Number 9. Yearning for knowledge. One of Socrates' most popular quotes is, "The only true wisdom is in knowing that you know nothing." And as funny as this quote sounds, it formed the basis of Socrates' school of thought, called the philosophy of skepticism. He lived his life asking questions like he knew nothing, and he taught his followers to do the same. Socrates believed that more can be achieved by asking why, rather than assuming that what you know is enough. I mean, isn't it even better to know too much than realize that you didn't know as much as you thought? Following this principle will help you to achieve your goals faster and easier because you will take on every task, equipped with every information you need. Number 8. Authenticity. Socrates once said, "Be as you wish to seem. The greatest way to live with honor in this world is to be what we pretend to be." For Socrates, this wasn't just a word of mouth. He lived it by example in every aspect of his life. A perfect instance was in his looks. Most ancient reports say that he wasn't so blessed with great looks. He had bulging eyes and a snubbed nose, and his belly didn't even try to hide. But interestingly, he did not try to polish himself to feel accepted. He lived comfortably in his body. So, to become successful in life, you have to accept yourself for who you are. I mean, the only approval you need is that of yourself, so you don't have to fit in when you can stand out. Rather than seek other people's validation through pretense, it is better to work on yourself for yourself. And you will be surprised to know that it is even more expensive and stressful to fake it than to actually make it work. Number 7. Humility. Based on his belief that humility builds up and pride shatters, Socrates lived a very humble life. In fact, his philosophy was carved around humility, being humble enough to show that he didn't know all things. In his 60s at the time, he gained a huge followership. Most of his disciples were young people. However, he was never too proud to be seen with them. He even went as far as going into the marketplace to do what he loves most, asking questions. This shows that humility gets more work done than pride ever will. So, whatever you plan to achieve, being humble and approachable will definitely connect you with better opportunities. Number 6. Choosing purpose over busyness. Beware of the barrenness of a busy life, Socrates said. At the time he lived, most young men in Athens were obsessed with chasing wealth, fame, and political power. However, he didn't try to run after all these. He wasn't even concerned with being known. He believed that it was more important to teach people to think, and this is what his life revolved around. But the truth is that walking in line with this purpose gave him more influence and fame than those who were actually busy chasing them. So, in the long run, a busy life may be full of activities, but it gives no fulfillment, and that's the same as being empty. Instead of chasing the wind by trying to do everything that comes your way, true success is achieved when you focus on the things that will bring fulfillment. Number 5. Practicing self-control. In the world of Socrates, one major key to achieving success is self-control. He said, "Let he who will move the world first move himself." And it's that simple. I mean, you can't make a change outside if you haven't made a change within. True success starts when you break free from the prison of your desires, fixing your gaze on a higher aim. Socrates himself lived his life like this. Number 4. Seeing the best in everything. One of the hardest things to do while trying to achieve a goal is seeing your failures or mistakes as a stepping stone. However, if you learn from Socrates, you will begin to see the opportunity in every setback. Yes, he was wise, but his life wasn't without situations or decisions he could have regretted. A perfect example is his marriage to Xanthippe, his temperamental and difficult wife. Most people believe that Xanthippe was the hardest person to get along with due to their difficult personality. But guess what? Socrates saw his marriage as a ground for learning to handle every kind of person. He believed that since he could survive with Xanthippe, no one in the world could bother him. Instead of seeing her as the nagging wife many said she was, he simply convinced himself that she had an argumentative spirit. This is why he came up with his famous quote, which says, "By all means, marry. If you marry a good wife, you will be happy. If you don't, you will become a philosopher." Isn't that such a profound word of wisdom? Unarguably, not everyone can see the good in what looks like a mistake or disappointment, but developing that kind of mindset is a big secret to success. Number 3. Taking little steps. Success isn't a destination but a journey, and you can only achieve more when you approach your journey in bits. Like Socrates taught his followers, developing the capacity to enjoy less is actually better than seeking more. This lesson, though aimed at seeking happiness, can also be applied to your goals. Making small changes every day produces more results than trying to do the big things at once. As drops of water make an ocean, your little efforts cumulatively become a big success. Number 2. Practicing self-examination. The unexamined life isn't worth living, he said, teaching his followers to value self-examination. Socrates believed that the journey of success starts when you strive to know yourself, your talents or passion, your personality, behavioral patterns, vulnerability, and so on. Being ignorant of these things about yourself makes you lose control of your life. You start living in line with the opinions of others about you, and that's just the same as running so hard in the wrong direction. However, when you embrace self-examination, you get a hold of your life, and you're able to keep a tab on your journey. Number 1. Desiring success. A young man once had an encounter with Socrates, and this made it into the records as one of his greatest recipes for success. Trying to teach the young man how to be successful, Socrates dunked his head deep into the river and had him struggle for breath. The young man kept struggling, but Socrates had a strong grip and he only let him go while he was about to turn blue. As soon as the man caught his breath, Socrates asked him, "What did you desire the most while you were underwater?" The young man answered and said, "Air." Then Socrates told him, "When you desire success as much as you desire air, then you will find it." And this story says it all. The burning desire, strong will, and passion for accomplishment are the greatest recipe for success. When all you yearn for and think of is being successful, you will do all to achieve it. While Socrates may not have achieved big success in the modern sense, his approach to life and learning can be applied to achieve success in various aspects of life. His legacy that has endured through millennials shows that true success is not about what we achieve, but the impacts we make. Do you think these lessons are useful and applicable? Share your thoughts in the comments. Also, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so that you can get to see more of our videos.